Chocolate keeps me warm.
So we'll call this meeting of the subcommittee for budget presentation ideas to order at 1:25 p.m. Present is Blythe, Abigail, Kate, and John, and myself. Good to go.
Yeah. Start out by hearing what John wants to make sure
Yeah.
that we're aware of.
I'll take notes.
Okay, so, we have two parts. We have programs and then we have the infrastructure. And for the last 4 or 5 years, we've always forgot about the infrastructures. So it's time that we took care of all this stuff. There's a lot of repairs, a lot of stuff that has to be done. So I just want to make sure we get into that and make sure that we're covering some of it this time around and for part of the budget, rather than skipping it all the time. So you're talking about buildings that need to be repaired. You're talking about tennis court that has to be washed. There's other
The building at
the barn.
the
at
barn
Emery Park, yeah.
at Emery Park.
And the hand railing that leads down to that needs to be sanded and urethaned again. What else?
I
Let's
just
see.
want to clarify that this meeting is not about the budget. This is just about the part-time
Recreational aid.
recreation or the full-time recreation aid. I just wanted to clarify because I want to make sure when you're saying all this that you're not looking to us to present that in our presentation because we're just doing a presentation on this.
Well,
one.
but we're gonna
You're gonna
be
need that
presenting to
Board.
the boards why we're asking for what we're asking for.
In
So
a way,
some of
part
this
this
information,
is, I mean, part of this
Well,
does pertain to it.
this does
actually.
pertain to it.
Well, peripherally.
Peripheral, well,
Yeah,
I mean,
think-
it-
Well, I guess we should
Well,
we should all understand how this pertains to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that we have been talking about the maintenance and we had Ed brought on
Yeah.
to do the maintenance. So I just am curious, John, there's a lot of maintenance, a lot of deferred maintenance. Would your expectation be for the full-time park and rec aide to take that on and to do that maintenance?
No, it's just basically Eddie. Eddie could do it, like he's doing now when he can get his time to do it. But as far as the other projects go, I mean, we've let down on maintenance a lot of stuff on the infrastructures. We got a new playground there, but now that the dogs are in there with the chips and they're pissing all over the chips, so we should think about maybe putting up a smaller fence so that the kids would be in the fence area rather than the dogs running in there. So I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of things that are happening, and also too that as part of the playground committee, the ball field committee needs to get some funding more than it had before due to the fact is that the backstop is rotting away completely. It's in a sort of a dangerous area that it'll just fall down and hit the kids in the backstop of that. So there's a lot of things that have to be taken care of with the ball fields and the soccer fields. But the thing is that bothers me the most is the fact that we're leasing that piece of property from Kent School, and somehow along the way we have to come up with a conversation with them, and Marty should talk to them and see if we can work out some sort of a deal, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done on those soccer fields that we don't have the money for. And they are, you go into a straight like this and all of a sudden you go into the bottom loop and then back up again. So it's dangerous for kids. That's about it. I mean, and we have some painting there, the shed that Jared never finished. And again, that's my big issue is the backboard of the baseball.
So what's interesting is that I think a lot of the conversation that we've been having is how we can, is we want to present this so that everyone understands that we believe that a recreation aid is going to actually alleviate some of the pressure on infrastructure.
Leader, not aid.
Leader, sorry.
Yeah.
That's all
Leader,
right, no problem.
so that our director can have more time to focus on things like infrastructure. And also to manage the budget in such a way that we're spending the money most efficiently in terms of our manpower. So that we can address exactly the kinds of stuff that you're talking about. And that somehow how we're doing things now is letting things fall to the wayside, and that restructuring the way things operate is going to benefit programs and infrastructure, we believe.
So you'll take that into account.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
a
what
big
we've been
part of
talking about.
I think this, as you just said, Kate, the strategy here is as it has been, the director hasn't actually been able to pay any attention to the physical aspect of park and recreation.
Well,
They've
he's done
only been
some.
able-
You
but
know,
done a
he did-
lot.
I mean, he
Yeah, he did
did,
a lot.
he's done the infield and he's taken that knowledge, but he can't do all the fields.
No,
Well,
I
as
mean,
the
And,
job of a director and the demands that have been on a director, there is not enough time in the day
No.
to do it, which is why we're trying to advocate for a second role to alleviate some of this and not, again, like even getting the list of deferred maintenance. You went through it, you walked everything, you wrote that list. We had that list prepared for when Jared started. And we have been able to see like an extremely capable, very dedicated person, what they were able to do with also running all of the programs and also rebuilding the department. So, I think that's and we did one thing with getting Ed to at least be out there regularly, especially because you are less able to. But even us having once relied on you to do so much as a volunteer, once you weren't able to, it was so clear the gap and that, well, what were why we can't just rely on volunteers and hope they're going to be able to get out there every day or every week.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to like structure a department so it can function and do these things.
I mean, you had that in place last season, where Ed was, whenever he was, when Jared called on him, he was there, so. I mean, he's available all the time, so. But, it's kind of sad that we always forget about our infrastructures, that's our important part, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I mean, even the pavilion at Commons Park is in bad shape,
Mm.
And I've invited those people who are from the Lions Club, and they don't want anything to do with it. So, but that's another thing that we have to work on as well. So, yeah.
I think we have to, I think we can certainly allude to this piece of it when we're
Mhm.
coming up with our rationale for this particular subcommittee. But I think we also have to make sure that the full board, the full commission
Everybody knows about it.
is aware of this and that we prioritize this in general for our budget discussion.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
And that's also, I think, just talking about all the work we have done in these documents we have created. We are now at the dawn of another new era where where you all have a new director. And I think just getting all that stuff organized for them so they have that list. So you don't have to have another conversation. You took a lot of time to do that years ago.
But, yeah.
It's just a matter of like file management to make
Yeah.
sure this person has it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I said, we can't forget the infrastructures. It's very important.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, it's just, I mean, we're spending a lot of money and time over at the ball fields, and I mean, we should really take it over, but that's a conversation that.
I don't think Kent School will ever
No, I don't think so.
release the,
But then again, we
Yeah.
can't get the funding for, special funding for it. So, because it's not our property, so that's the trouble, But anyway. Moving forward.
I wonder if they could apply for any grants.
Well, that's just,
I mean, that
Marty
might,
has to sit down and talk with them,
Yeah.
one-on-one.
So you just threw that into the slide. Did you just throw that in there? That slide thing, the anecdote? John Grant, amazing volunteer.
We said
This
that
was-
last meet.
Right, this was our last meeting when we were coming up with, because, we're envisioning this slideshow,
We've been
right?
saying this.
So we're like, okay, well, and so here it is right here. It's like, okay, we're not just relying on volunteers, and we're looking at a new structure for the Park and Rec department. Anecdote, John Grant, amazing volunteer. So I think that's great, and maybe,
It's,
you know,
we work as a group. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not one person.
Right.
So it works better that way.
well,
And I think we just have to be realistic about what we can ask of volunteers.
Yeah.
It's just,
absolutely.
we've. Only, you only expect so much.
Yeah.
from Volunteers. The truth of it.
So can I shift away from that for just a sec?
Well,
And,
I think, John, do you
was
feel
there
like
anything-
we?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you covered it, yeah,
Okay.
so that's good. I mean, as long as it's in there
Any
for
other
me,
concerns?
I'll
Yeah,
be happy.
yeah, we'll definitely have that in there.
Do you guys want me to give you an update on what I learned?
Yeah, I thought that maybe that we could go on to see what else we figured out from the people we were supposed to touch base with.
Okay, yeah.
And then we can talk a little bit more about the slides, because we've got to start pulling those things together, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a good framework, but I think we have to now start actually designing the presentation, so making sure that we have enough. And that kind of stuff. So, yes, why don't you?
So presenting to who and when, I kind of shared this, but I did meet with Lynn Worthington just to get the protocol of, what meetings happen when, so. I guess the way it works is the Board of Selectmen will meet with different departments. It's called like a series of budget workshops. It's not typically discussed at the regular scheduled February meeting, so we don't have to feel like we have that as a deadline. And basically the typical order of operations is we would present this case, and I guess the overarching budget, to the Park and Rec Commission. They say, this is great. Then set up a special meeting with the Board of Selectmen. And this would be part of that budget meeting with them, and we present our case. They say, yes, absolutely. And then the Board of Selectmen would be presenting it to the Board of Finance. But of course, coming with the presentation and being able to speak on behalf of this particular line item, I think we'd want to show up at that meeting too.
Right.
So when we ask for the Board of Selectmen meeting, it's a special meeting, and the only agenda on the item would be budget workshop. And other groups may join for that. There may be another agenda item for budget workshop for a different group, but that's kind of the order of operations.
I think, just going back to what John said, in defense of whatever we put in for ball fields, which seems to be an item that they think is, oh, we can cut that,
Mm.
is the
Yeah.
fact that if we don't own the land, we can't apply for grants for any kind of upgrades, and that really hobbles us. I know Glenn had, actually had voted down at one point some of the ball field money, saying, I don't think you need to spend that much money. But he's used to, what's happening at Marvelwood and things like that, but he might not have picked up on the fact that
This is
Or-
the only source of money.
our hands are sort of
Right, yeah.
tied. I
The
think
other thing
that's a
too
good
is that
point.
A lot of people don't get it. They think they're in their office or they're in a room and they don't see what's going on out there in the fields. They need to walk out the fields.
Yeah.
So they can understand how it is. So
Well, we could also perhaps do a nice, I also feel like didn't we go through and take photographs of things?
a long time ago, yeah.
It was I think it was all a part of this, getting the deferred maintenance
Right,
list.
yeah.
So we did, we did go through the effort of photo documenting it all, because back then we knew we needed to be able to tell a good story. Um, uh, but nothing, it does help able to take pictures.
I don't think I have to anymore.
Sure, I still have some.
But yeah, I mean, it's, you can't just sit in an office and make a judgment. You just have to get out there in the field and look at it. So,
It's funny, I'm looking in my Google Drive under deferred maintenance, and I collect annual reports from cultural institutions,
Oh my
and they're all
God.
coming
Wow.
out because
Oh
they
my
all
God,
have their deferred
Yes.
maintenance issues. All right.
Okay, that's
So
good.
then, let's see, let's keep going down the list here.
So if you feel like you're good, you're certainly welcome to stay, or you can.
is it
head
still
out.
snowing?
I don't know.
Okay. We're gonna take a
If it is, it's very, very light.
trip out there. Thank you guys for your time. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank you for
Thanks for
coming. I
coming.
appreciate that.
it. Yeah, the crippled guys leaving.
Oh,
And I'll put the pillow back. This is a good pillow. I like it.
it is a good pillow. Yes, it's a good pillow.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
No, absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank you
John.
So much.
Yep.
You okay?
Yeah.
Where did you park?
Oh, right behind the door here.
Oh,
oh, good.
Back
I
parking lot.
There's
almost
a
have a
back
handicap pass, but not yet.
Yeah, that reminds me, I was gonna tell you guys, if you do ever wanna just get closer to the building, I always talk about the visitor parking lot.
that's
Because
where I
it's
parked.
easier to kind of
Yeah.
figure
See.
out rather than trying to figure out which parking lot, but there is a parking lot all the way around back behind this building.
Yeah, I've done that
It's
for
like-
when I've
Yeah.
repped the backfield or whatever.
Yeah, or if you go pick blueberries or something like that,
Mm.
that's where everybody parks. Okay, so,
So I'm not connected
To the notes.
to the notes,
okay,
but maybe I can connect to the notes on my phone. I don't know.
well,
When is our next Park and Rec scheduled meeting? Regular meeting?
Well, it would be February 3rd. I can tell you exactly because I
Monday of
think
the
I put it
month.
on my calendar. So
That's
that's why we
President's
may
Day.
have to have another one.
yeah, if
Oh,
if
we had
have-
a schedule mapped out. Mike Perkins did put the schedule together.
yeah, it's
26th, because the 19th is a holiday.
Okay.
Okay, so we clearly would have to have, if we've got to get into the Board of Selectmen before the end of February. then we've gotta try
Or even, yeah, I'm thinking maybe if we're done at like mid-February.
Yeah.
I'll be gone for the 19th and 20th, but other than that. So I
well,
did
let's-
not get a lot of the factual data yet, but I did get a tutorial on MyRec
Oh, good.
from New Milford.
Okay,
Mhm.
Because I know those guys have done stuff down there, so it's probably gonna be very simple to get an overview of programs and participants. They have a reporting part of the program, and you go in and that. So we could probably do like 2022, 2023 pretty quickly.
Mm.
If we go back to 2019, if we skip 20 and 21 and just say those are COVID blips,
yeah,
Mhm.
but go back to 2019,
Mhm.
that's gonna be in folders somewhere in the office.
Yeah.
That's pre-MyRec.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
rec
So, and I just realized that.
so my rec would be 21 and 20 start.
Well, I
Start
think it would be 22 and
22,
23.
23.
So we can definitely get those, but it would be, and I think we could explain you know, just say COVID kind of interrupted everything, and those might not be good years to compare, but if you look at 2019 to 2022, 23,
Right.
to show this is what Park
The
and
upward
Rec has done.
trajectory, yeah,
And then we can do the same thing with the revenue.
Yeah.
Because I think the revenue is an important piece to show we're bringing in more revenue.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is going to offset some of the cost of a new position.
Right.
So, I know we wanted to get the percent to the overall budget, like increase. If we included this, this position, we were gonna ask Jared for that. Has anybody talked to Jared, had a conversation with him? And then we, we were
So
just
what was
saying.
it, the percent
So
increase?
we wanted the percent increase to the overall town budget. If we included this, it was really nominal.
Oh, I
And it
remember.
was a talking point Jared had,
Yes.
because he was like, wow, this is all coming
like
down to like
0.01 or something.
0.03%. Like, really? And so even I think just seeing how small of a piece of the pie it is, but
Right.
we need that. I just remember he had that talking point. So we need to get that from him.
And I know we have here that Rufus was gonna meet with Jared about talking points, so let's make sure that we can get that.
Yep.
I do think then we also have to think about what other people are gonna think, which is if you hire this position and you start focusing on deferred management, aren't the requests for Park and Rec funds to address deferred management going to go up, and that's an increase in what you're gonna be asking us for too.
Yes.
Like I always try to think strategically about like if I'm
Yeah.
a naysayer
Mm-hmm.
and I say I don't want to spend the extra money for this person,
Mm-hmm.
because doubly on top of the fact that we're spending more money for this person,
That was
what you're arguing is that this person will help us identify more deferred maintenance and take care of it, which is going to require more money. So
well.
it's like,
Yes, but
That's true.
I could also say the deferred maintenance is never going to go away and just snowball and
Right.
look at the list we already have.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
I think on a slide someplace or someplace we have to be prepared. This was when I used to teach English, right? This was called the anticipatory rebuttal. You anticipate what your opposition is going
Right.
to say,
Yep.
and you cut it out from under them in your speaking before anybody can even raise the concern.
So what I would say to that is, okay, some of you might think that we're gonna have more. Some of you voted against this position because you were upset that Emery Park wasn't open.
Mhm.
And that's a prime example of a director not being able to put his energy where it should be, which is overseeing all the parks.
Mhm.
And yet, he spent his 40 hours plus per week doing improvement to Kent Commons, improvement to our programs. You can see here how they've increased, participation has increased,
Right.
revenues have increased. He can't do both.
Yeah.
It's too big a job.
Right.
If you want all the parks addressed equally, and maybe there will be some things, but there are other ways of maybe deferring that park upgrade, or there be some things that we can do on a volunteer basis.
Yeah. I think in the part of what the why is an effective park and rec department important for a town, right? That was
Right.
kind of our starting point. One of them, we should probably mention deferred maintenance in there. That it's not just about new programs or ongoing programs or making everybody have fun. It's also addressing deferred maintenance needs, which has fallen
Mm-hmm.
to the Park and Rec director and commission to identify and address.
An
So-
example of that would be the water fountain at Emery Park, which hasn't been operable for years.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't even that went down under Leslie.
So, it's great to have great programming, but if you don't have great spaces to put them in because they're falling apart.
Parks part.
What does Matt
did you have any conversations with Matt about this position? Like, is he aware of all of this sort of the way we're structured?
He came and we looked at all three parks,
Mhm.
or the playing fields, and then Kent Commons, and his reaction to Emery Park was, wow, there's a lot of possibilities here,
Mm,
you know. And his work with Deep and stuff like that. I mean, he said there are ways to chlorinate the pool as it is. You can do that.
mhm.
And he said you might have turtles, but um but you know
But
we
in terms
also
of like having a program, sorry, what are we, a recreation director, or what has he,
we didn't talk
we didn't
about
talk about
we
that?
didn't talk about having a recreation
Okay.
leader.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why I have a mental block.
It's
we
okay, it's a weird one.
we know that he, in one of his positions running the aquatics programs, had a ton of people under him. So he's used to
Okay.
Managing.
having people that he delegates responsibility to, which is what the leader is,
Mhm.
that's
So there's no reason to think that he would want to be part of this, thinking this through. He's going to appreciate our having done that. And I mean, if there's no reason why we were supposed to get Mr. Boosie involved in this conversation before we go forward with it.
I can talk to him
Yeah.
beforehand easily enough.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he would mind having that knowledge ahead of time. I think it would help him. So that's a good idea.
I'm gonna have to cha-cha a little early today. At, 10 minutes. Need to prepare for that.
Okay, I know we had hoped to go a little longer today, but if that doesn't work, it doesn't work.
You are all welcome to if you'd like to.
I did reach out to Karen Iannucci about the seniors, and she said no problem. She will get testimonials from the seniors for the presentation. She and I are in touch about that.
It's kind of weird. Like this is a weird argument to build because like we're talking about the really positive state of recreation in Kent today. Like we've been nailing it. It's amazing. Yet the state of the parks is like abysmal. And then we're trying to rationalize the hire of a recreation lead. I guess it's like we're hiring the recreation lead to maintain and grow recreation that's already got this great foundation. But we've got all this deferred maintenance and this abysmal state of parks. And so we need now to enable the director. That's the focus. Is that what we're saying? Like that's going to be, if you enable us to hire this rec lead, we're going to be able to guarantee the programming is going to keep going at the rate it is and only grow. And we're going to build on all the satisfaction that everybody has and the great work our Jared had done. But we all have to come to terms with reality that one person can't do that. So, or one person can't maintain parks and recreation. So now the new director, we're now going to like charge this new director with addressing the state of the parks.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think, you're looking at, I mean, just look at the time. You have more programs, you have more program oversight, you have preparation, ordering materials, ordering supplies, all of that stuff. So, you hire somebody for ostensibly a 40-hour work week. If it's that, I mean, the town hall closes at 12 on Friday. How many hours do these people work?
In essence, what we're doing is we are addressing exactly what John Grant said by hiring a recreation leader.
Yeah.
Like, we're actually addressing the state of the parks by hiring a recreation leader, which doesn't, you can see how that doesn't,
It
Right,
doesn't
it's
make
not a
sense.
it
natural-
doesn't make sense, but that is in fact the case that we're making.
That's the
So-
case we're making.
That's one case.
Well,
Well, yeah.
I guess
a
like
big
we
part
have to,
of it.
I'm just trying to,
Right.
like, I'm just trying to think of the mental gymnastics we're asking our audience to go through. And one of the, I think the difficulties is the title of the person we're trying to get a job
Right.
for is recreation lead.
Right, if your
And what we're
programs are
saying,
so great,
we're
why
winning.
do we need to hire somebody? If it's going so well, why do we need to hire
Yeah.
somebody?
Like, I'm just thinking of like,
Because,
yes.
Because-
and then you go back, look at how many people miss it, Emery
Yeah,
Park.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
There's
So-
gotta be master plan, there's gotta be conversations with DOT, there's tons of time that go into bringing Emery Park back up to speed.
Right, other town departments too, I mean, just all that, the
Yeah.
drainage stuff, I mean,
Right.
it's like. I mean, you leave the high level conversation
Right.
and kind of planning, strategic planning to this, the director, who of course is not going to completely abandon involvement in
No,
recreation programming.
so
But-
your rec leader will provide the program leadership to allow the director to do
Right.
the rest of his job.
Right.
And should provide continuity between after school and Camp Kent, which will further support the campers' good feeling about the kind of product they're going to be
Right,
getting.
right.
So what should we? I've never put together a slideshow in my life, to be honest with you people. I've never done that. I don't do PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I've never done it in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know how I made it as far as I did without, but I always had somebody else maybe do that. I can write pretty well. I know you, I mean, how do we, what are our next steps? to
I'm
get
writing, I
something?
think we gotta write the headlines of what our slides are.
Okay,
And so if I can,
Yeah,
I'm just starting to build.
there you go.
Okay, so
See, I
park
could- I
and
couldn't do that.
recreation is recreation in parks. Like
Bingo.
there's
Yeah.
two
Beautiful.
pieces to the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
The state of recreation in Kent today, we're winning, we're doing awesome. Look at all this growth.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible growth has led to more revenue. I think we gotta say maybe something here also about like that also more asking more of the department to maintain these things.
mhm.
The state of
And customer satisfaction.
Well, okay,
too.
if you go back.
Yep.
Incredible has led to more revenue. And then maybe one more participation, X number of,
now I can write backwards and upside down, but
No.
I can't type backwards and upside
Wow, yeah.
or I can write upside down and backwards. Yeah, I have to do it for my work. More revenue and participation, overall satisfaction,
Right, the families and the
yeah,
families
families,
and residents of the town.
residents, seniors, brava.
now, do we,
Okay, could I just finish my little story?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I like it.
Yet the state of parks does not match the caliber of our programs or the caliber of our town. Sad images of Emery Park. So we're proposing a new role within Park and Rec. This hire is to maintain and grow recreation. And then I think the next slide would be so that we can equally maintain parks. Right, because we're trying to balance these two things
Yeah.
because Park and Recreation is a balance of the two things. Therefore, like,
Um,
one person can't do it. Mm-hmm.
right. This is not to say that the director won't also be heavily involved in programs and new programs and continued growth, but
I mean, the fact is, when you
I
grow
think that's
something,
great.
you have to
Have a
staff
go.
it up. Yeah, nice job. when you grow programming, you have to staff up. It's
Yeah.
just, you know,
Mhm.
I mean,
Right.
you know, Marwood School goes, if we go from 80 to 120 kids,
You're gonna have more
you have to staff up.
Mhm.
You know, anybody knows if you know, if you add a wing to your grocery store, you got to staff up.
Mhm.
It's logical. We're kind of behind the times here. I mean, I think everybody understands that once you are providing more product, once you are dealing with more things, you have to hire to cover that. That's what businesses do.
Right.
And if we want to look
I
at this
mean,
as a
that would
business,
be
as a
a
revenue
2
generator,
cents thing right
You know?
there, you know,
Yeah.
you know,
if
More
you,
specifically
that's a great point.
you know, I mean,
what
anything that grows
envisioning
exponentially needs staffing to grow exponentially,
Mhm.
and the exponent of 1 is 2. I mean, it's not like we're asking for 5 people, but
Right.
it can't just be 1. You know, it was 1 when it was 80 kids. It can't be 1
Mhm.
when it's 250 kids.
Right.
It's logical to staff up in
So
response.
there's an aging part of the population that when they went to school, class sizes were 30 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's no longer the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Nancy O'Day Wyrick is such a naysayer toward Kent Center School.
Mm,
She really doesn't see how things have changed
Yeah.
or the roles that people play in as a teacher.
Yeah.
She doesn't get it. So we've got somehow, you know, I mean, there are those people who are going, oh, well, my day, you know, you know, da, 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 da.
Your day, women couldn't have credit cards.
So there you go.
Let's talk about your day.
I mean, that's the thing. I think if we, you know, if we keep it as a business the business model, you know, take it out of the school. I use
Specifically about
Marblewood just, you know, like
Mhm.
I can't have, you know, it's mission inappropriate for me to have a 7-to-1 student teacher ratio because my whole entire mission is about intentionally small.
Mhm.
So of course I have to staff up if my numbers go up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but any business has to do that in order to run effectively and deliver a quality product. And a quality experience, not just a
Mhm.
product, but an experience. And we're doing that. We're doing product and experience and location. So it's like a triple threat model here. We've got to, you know, it's not that we've been ignoring the state of the parks, but they need just as much time in terms of focus.
And that also depends, back to the volunteer points
Yeah.
that you've been making.
And once the planning is done and we implement improvement to that park, to
Yeah.
Emery.
Yeah.
That will give us the opportunity to increase programs in that park as
Right,
well.
right.
So it's not like, I mean, I really don't see Camp Kent going back to Emery Park. We found a better
Yeah, we found a better solution there.
solution. But for outdoor enthusiasts, trails, other things that could go on, but we need to improve the
Yeah,
infrastructure.
wouldn't it be
of the
nice to
park.
do more fun things under the pavilion if it wasn't going to fall on people?
Yeah.
Or, you know, the backstop that's going to clonk some kid in the head.
So I'm trying to get it to 10 slides.
Yeah.
Park and Rec is recreation and parks. Great. You know, we've done all this growth. This is where we show a lot of the stats of all the stuff we've done. This is where we have quotes of happy people, faces, state of parks, really bad. This is where we've got my Instagram account I always wanted to start of hi, I'm Emery Park.
Oh, wow.
So here we are proposing a new, and now I can because I'm not on the commission anymore.
All right.
We're proposing a new role to maintain and grow recreation so that the director, and I think we should talk a little bit more about what we envision the director doing. So it's not just about parks.
Mhm.
So let's look more specifically about what we are envisioning for the rec leader. This is where we talk about ASP and Camp Kent and all the continuity. Therefore, we're asking to move from a one-person and many part-time hires to a two-person collaboration with far fewer part-time hires. So I think we can show that diagram of the difference.
I wouldn't say far
I wouldn't say
fewer
far fewer,
part-time,
just fewer.
because we're still gonna do part-time hires.
Yeah, it's not far fewer. I think that those two charts that Lynn showed, it was like maybe two less people, less part-time people.
Yeah,
So, just
It's
fewer.
really good for my brain.
with a two-person collaboration to better,
I can't do
to
it.
better utilize
To-
part-time
Ba,
hires.
ba, 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 To
Better utilize fewer part-time hires. There you go.
Yeah. So then people go, oh, yeah,
okay,
Fewer, not
fewer
fear.
part-time hires. Fear. Well, we did. I do wonder about some of the part-time hires.
We
Can I
fear
ask-
those
Can I ask a
part-time hires.
practical question too, just to make sure that nobody comes to decide with this? What is in the director's job description about strategic planning and deferred maintenance?
Nothing, I don't believe, but we can double check.
Okay, because are we gonna get any pushback that the director that we just hired, if we're suddenly gonna task the director with strategic planning and deferred maintenance, that's not in the,
That is something that the commission is
I would like-
already
well, my head to explode.
looking at to update the job description.
well, right, because,
You know.
well, I guess that's the other thing, is that if we do hire this person, it's going to require an update to the director job description. As it stands now, we hired the person who needs to fill it when there's only one person. So I guess we don't really have to worry about
That's right.
the
That's
fact
right.
that, so I think that's just a response that we need to have ready to go. if
And the
somebody
other
challenges us.
response I
Yeah,
would
well, like
say
we
is,
also say, this will necessitate an
Get right in front of
update,
it.
An update
Yeah.
to the directors.
an update, which we
Yeah.
want to do
director,
in conversation, in collaboration with the new director.
which the
Right.
PR commish.
Will oversee and or spearhead or whatever it is.
Like they intend on doing in collaboration.
Intend to pursue in collaboration with the new director and the hopefully hired new rec person. I mean,
No,
that's,
I would say that
collaboration
the
with the new director.
conversation for job descriptions would fall on the director and the commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the new recreation
Right.
leader will get what we tell him he's gonna get.
Yeah.
So second to last slide, show the two financial models and the benefit of the model we are proposing,
Mhm.
and then a summary slide.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's 10.
that's 10. So we just have to get some information. to put
So
in here.
am I on your,
I'm sharing this with all of you.
all right, so
Rufus. The right Rufus.
I'm like learning all this stuff. I
Blythe.
can't believe I used to run computer labs at New
I was
Milford
gonna
when
say,
the
yeah.
computers were first out, and I was
Sure.
like, oh my God,
I taught
This
this
moves at
Marvelwood's very
lightning
first
speed.
computer class on Apple IIe computers.
Nice.
yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing, but they were Apple IIe computers.
Yeah.
There's no way I could.
New Milford hired me, and one of the questions in the interview was, oh, well, never mind. Don't need to
Anyway,
tell
all right,
everybody.
don't ask that.
You're
Yeah,
being
don't-
recorded.
right,
You're
we're
being
being-
recorded.
Far afield.
Okay, so should we schedule a next meeting, or we do that via text or email or something
I
like that
yeah, my time starts to thin out.
in February? right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to come at this time anymore.
Okay.
What time can you come? Like in the evening?
I think
Or
I'm gonna probably have to move this to the evening thing.
Okay. Well, why don't we do that? We can do that
Zoom?
offline.
Yeah.
Right. We can do that on. We can arrange
On
our next
Zoom.
meetings on Zoom,
Yeah.
and then if you share with us,
You check
Those
your email, I
things.
just did,
Okay,
so
great.
hopefully it came through.
Rufus, you wanted me to write up the minutes for today, just brief like I did last time.
You could, or
I'm
you
happy
just,
to, or
you know,
if you want me to.
yeah,
I got it out.
I like,
I got the
I
template
like
already.
the general, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
So
I'm
do
gonna use
that.
that same, basically
Yeah.
that same statement. and I'll
Send
just
me a
add that John was
copy
here
and I'll
and that you're no longer a commissioner.
send it in.
What do we want to call you?
Member of the public.
Member of the vote. Okay, perfect.
I'm just a member of the public, people.
Yes, you
Watch out.
are.
Coach,
You don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, there you go.
Coach Abigail.
I'm the kindergarten basketball coach.
She did a great job last night.
It was very fun.
So when does this fellow, do we have
All
to
right, see you
adjourn?
all later.
Oh,
we
yeah,
adjourned,
so,
yeah.
we are call to adjourn at, what time is it?
2:10.
2:10.
You're all terrific.
You are,
And
Thank
now I
you.
have
Thanks,
to
Off the Zoom.
somehow turn off.
Probably just quit out of the,
Just
or stop
close
the,
it.
yeah, I think you have to stop the meeting.
There we are.